Shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, BaHashem, YAHAWASHI, BaHashem, Rakak, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to my Akim, Wakwathim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this power captivity. This is Brother Kawakub coming at you with another lesson. In today's lesson, I'm not going to play this video, but basically, you can go watch it yourself. I'm going to put a link in it to this video in the description, but basically in the whole education, dealing with the whole education system with Esau, basically giving out bad education or trying to make us dumber, making the people dumber, whereas in comparison to another country like China, one moment. Compared to other countries like China, they are actually trying to make their people, their kids smarter. Basically, in this video, they just show a bunch of kids doing a bunch of like experiments, learning how to cook, learning how to lay bricks and stuff like that. Actual like practical skills and stuff that we need and we don't even know. And I thought that this was so crazy because I've been saying this for the longest time, in how like I just do not mess with the education system, American education system / Western education system. All right, not even just America or Western, but I think they even said European. So even European, so by extension Western education system. All right, because they even showed comparison about that. But yeah, basically, Ezra 14:17, for look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. And this is an example of that, where evil is growing, and as evil is growing, we are also getting weaker as a people, because the Lord he views this whole men being effeminate and women being masculine as abomination, okay? Because the Lord did not set a man to be a woman or a woman to be a man. He set a man to be masculine and strong, and a woman to be submissive and feminine, okay? But you have people that are doing the opposite of that, and as well as people also growing dumber, all right? And as a result of that, this is why things are just falling out of whack, and we aren't as harmonious as before, because there's so many people that are genuinely like depressed, and they're genuinely they're just living just to live, just to get through the days. It's not any sincerity of, oh, I want to get out of here, I have something to look forward to. No, it's just that you keep on living just to get by. You burning through all your hours, all your energy, just to make it to the next day and whatnot, to be able to pay for rent and all that stuff. It's a miserable existence. All right, it's a very, very miserable existence. And while we struggle trying to go through all this stuff, we hope and pray to YAHAWAH, he ends things sooner rather than later. But going back to the whole thing about the education system, a thing about this is that we need to understand and remember 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now people would think, oh yeah, Esau would definitely want more people to be smarter and all that stuff. Well, no, the thing is, Esau wants more of us to be dumber, because in his system of capitalism, all right, basically capitalism relies on there being workers to work for the people that actually own these companies and whatnot. So if there are no workers, there are no people that are working to supply money for these owners of these companies, then it's just like, okay, well, then that would mean that they would have to go and work themselves and do all that stuff by themselves, rather than just making someone else go and do it for them. All right, so this is the problem that we're in with the whole capitalism thing, where you have a bunch of people that just are working for pennies, okay, virtually pennies and whatnot, because with the whole inflation thing. Because I'm not an expert on this whole economy type shit, but just in general, I know the generality of it, and the generality of capitalism, slacking. Because I still don't know too much on socialism. I know the definitions. I think for socialism is that the workers basically are the ones that own their own businesses, rather than having someone else like, John Doe whatever onze the entire corporation of McDonald's, and all the workers are working for the minimum wage, while all the employees get paid 10% of McDonald's entire check. 20%, let's say 50% of the money that McDonald's makes goes into keeping the business running, and the other last 40% all goes into the owner, with owner John Doe. In terms of that, so like that's how unfair it is, because you're getting such a small portion shared upon all the other workers or the people that are working alongside you. All right, whereas the owner, simply just because he's the owner, even though he's not doing anything but just bossing everyone around, if not even doing that. All right, and that's how this society is, where you have these owners that are just telling you. And that's the thing, where Esau doesn't want people to be smart enough to be able to recognize this. He just wants people to say, "Oh, well, I'm telling you to do this. I'm your boss. Just go and do this. I don't want you questioning anything." He wants people just stupid and incapable and constantly having to rely on him, rather than being independent on your own. All right. And that's the thing, where you have so many people that are so dependent on Esau for literally everything. All right, which is why people are also like very dumb. Like you also that's another thing about the system, where it is a credit based system, where you don't, if you buy something, buy a big purchase, I'll say, all right, not like something like if you just buy food, but like if you buy a car, okay, you have to take a loan out, or if you buy a house, you have to take a loan out, because you don't own the house. The bank owns your house, but you have to constantly make payments every month in order to fully buy and actually own that house. And that's why, you are constantly in debt. All right, let's get this. What was that other one? It was in Proverbs, I'm pretty sure. Proverbs 22 verse 7, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay, you are a servant to the bank, you are a servant to the thing, and if you're not giving them money, if you're not working to pay off your debts and your bills and whatnot, then they're just going to kick you out and make you homeless. Okay, also Baruch chapter 3 verse 8, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. And once again, they don't want us to be smart. They don't want us to be self-reliant. They want us to be reliant on him. And he wants us to, you have to just literally do whatever I say. If I tell you to do this, you're going to go do this. And that was a big thing with the jab, where people, they couldn't do any research on their own, because either they were too lazy to do it, they didn't want to do it, they didn't understand it, or they were being coerced into do it. Like, if you don't do it, you're gonna lose your job. Or they were just told, just trust us, I'm a scientist, or I'm a doctor, I'm a this, I'm a that, and whatnot. All right, or just trust us, we're the government, we're this, that, and the third, whatever. All right, where the evil intent, lucky. That's the thing, where I'm not saying like this is all parents, but say for example, if a parent is like, okay, well, I want you, kid, you son, here, put this razor blade in your thing while you go to school, all right, and then your kid just blindly believes you. That's how Esau wants adults. Now he doesn't even just want parents like that. He wants the adults like that. Okay, that's why they start at the kids, where the kids get accustomed to just blindly following their school teachers, then their any authoritative figures like the police, the government, and all that stuff. Where people they just they can't come to a conclusion, to their own conclusion, or think for themselves. All right. So continuing on. Sirach chapter 10 verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority the city shall be inhabited. So let's break this down one by one. First things first, a wise judge will instruct his people, meaning basically how if they are a good wise ruler, they're going to say, hey, you guys, you need to do this. This is the best thing for you, and you would expect them, that to not have any evil intent or trying to basically ruin our lives and try to make things bad for us. They want to. You would expect them to actually want to help us, but apparently that's not the case. All right. Now next, verse 2, as a judge of the people of himself. So there are people that, it's like the people, the followers, they take after their leaders, and basically what the image that Esau puts out there for us to follow, it is a subservient thing, or just trust thing, let's do whatever they want. And they also have these celebrities, all right, that just basically are pushing out this type of thing for them to say, okay, well, we see LeBron James doing this, that, and the third, so we're going to go and do that exact same thing. Because there was a whole bunch of kids during Michael Jordan's time in the NBA that were saying, I want to be like Michael Jordan. There was a bunch of white kids, so-called white kids, so-called black kids, so-called Asian kids, from what I've heard, okay, because it was a surprise that I heard a bunch of different kids were of all races were saying that they were looking up to Michael Jordan, all right, and that is because of that where you have these people that are like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be just like Michael Jordan and whatnot. I'm gonna do the same thing that he's doing, all right. And as a result of that, this is where we've gotten to, where they want to follow after him, but it is the thing that he's teaching, he's showing. Is it the right thing? Is it a good thing that he's doing? Okay, now let's actually go into that. Verse 3, an unwise king destroyeth his people, where they're going to push out that self-destructive behavior, which we see in gang violence, where they push out these gang and rappers and stuff like that. Where the frick is my phone? Damn it. Bear with me one moment, Slakia. All right, Slakia. Basically, verse 3, an unwise king destroyed his people. So basically, they're saying, hey, you do this, it's good for you, but in actuality, it's destroying that. Slakia, it's destroying the people, and that is something that Esau tends to do. He tends to lead his own people as well as our people, or anyone that just follows him in general, into self-destructive behaviors as well as reliance. Because I don't know if you know about drug addiction, for example. Like they say here, if you want this drug makes you feel good, and then people get addicted to drugs, and then they have an unquenchable need to constantly take drugs and whatnot, and as a result of that, people just get so used to it to the point where it's like they it's like they fail to really realize and see and acknowledge that this is not good for you. People don't take a look at themselves. They don't look at themselves in the mirror that they have been ruined by Esau, Edom. All right. So yeah. So let's continue on. Yeah. Basically, what they promote in China is, making the children actually smarter, self-sufficient, and reliable. But Esau doesn't want that. Esau wants you to be dumb and the simplistic, well-behaved slave that will just do whatever he says. Okay, if the government says to jump off a cliff, then a lot of people will do it. They say, "Oh, believe the science, believe the science." Okay, when that was funny, and that's the thing. A lot of people, actually do agree with what Esau says, and they will literally try to argue about it when it is, even though it's wrong. Because the thing is, one of the thing is, if you've heard about what's his name, Thanos from Avengers Endgame, getting rid of his motivation in the movies, only in the movies, because it was a different motivation in the comics, which ironically the comics make more sense. But that's not even here nor there. But the main thing is that you have people that actually think that it is okay to do that. It is okay, like stuff like the purge, stuff like getting rid of half the population, is good, and that's going to help solve the problems. But in actuality, that's not the thing, because the reality of it is that how the system is now, it is messed up. And when I say the system, I mean Esau's system. How Esau set things up to be, that is why things are wrong. When the wicked are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked are in rule, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Slakia, right? In it's Proverbs 29 verse 2. All right, I'm just gonna quote it for now, but you get the picture where people they actually are trying to rationalize why that's a good thing, when if you think about it, think about it honestly. In an apartment complex, okay, let's say a big apartment building, there are multiple people, multiple families, multiple households in that one building. But if you got a mansion owned by one of these elites, they have one family, one person maybe, all right, that has all their freaking servants and stuff like that cleaning their house, and this dude has more space than he will ever need. So how is that fair? How are all the resources being how are you going to say that there's too many people and there's not enough resources, when this is the reality of how things are being split unfairly, okay, unjustly, okay? And again, this is the system that we live in currently. All right, so let me get this. Psalms 64 verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune on laying snares privily. They say, "Who shall see them?" Okay, and it is through these subliminals, these movies, all the stuff like that, that people really do genuinely believe that this is the right way to live. That this is okay. That this is all right. This is what is natural. This is what to look forward to, when that couldn't be farther from the truth. All right, I mean, go also here. Yeah, Psalm 35 verse 8. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his nest that he hath hid catch himself into that very destruction, let him fall. And that's basically it. Our we have YAHAWAH who set Esau up as in reference to Psalm 17:13, okay, where the wicked is the sword, the wicked being Esau, Edom, okay, and Esau setting up a trap, and funnily enough, the people that are going to fall for this trap are going to be Esau, Edom. The elect will be protected all throughout it. All right, even if we fall in the trap, the Lord will get us out. Or the Lord will make it so that we won't have to fall in the trap at all. Whichever, it doesn't matter. It's a case by case basis. All right, but yeah, that's the main thing. I really just don't like this whole education system that we're going through. Another thing, with a tax, okay, you literally have to go and learn tax as an elective. I remember learning about taxes in my thing, and even then it was an elective. I wasn't learning it directly. Okay, it wasn't as easy to comprehend. They didn't do it in a sense. It was like I was taking a college course in fucking high school and stuff like that, where I just felt like it wasn't as comprehensible, and they didn't really take the time to actually teach it in a proper way. But yeah, so back then obviously I didn't know, and even now it's still a little bit harder, but obviously I have to do it, so I gotta, and that's the thing where even when I have to report taxes, I still have to go in Google and search up whatever key terms I forgot, because it's always a dread to me. Okay, so what is this? Slocky, that's getting off topic, but that's basically the thing. There were things that I wish I had learned in school and stuff like that, but Esau and his snares. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahawah, SHAMAIWAN, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, above the ball, and shalom.